the country, we are going to see a bloodbath happening in our country. We have already seen Kokagiso the other day.
The shootings that are happening. Oh my goodness.
There have been random people being shot at brazenly during the day,
people
at
sitting,
night.
drinking are shot. Families are shot. There's going to be house break-ins now. So to save all that from happening, those who have the resources, those who are in the right spaces, those
It's a very good morning to you. It's a Saturday morning. I'm here with a wonderful, amazing lady who's going to share her story with us. This is the Free Ride podcast. I'm so excited today to speak to this amazing, powerful woman. And so before I introduce her, I just want to say thank you to all our viewers. And thank you for liking, for subscribing, for sharing. We are definitely growing as a Free Ride podcast. And of course, big ups and thanks to all my guests who have joined us on the show. And I've got another powerful individual. It's Women's Month. Women's Day is coming up. She's got stories to share with us. Let me say good morning and welcome to my sister, my beautiful, amazing sister, Sis Babalwa. How are you doing?
I'm good, Betsipa. How are you? It's been a long
time. Yo.
And we had a big mountain called COVID.
How did you survive COVID?
I don't know. I think it was just the grace of God. During that time, I actually wanted to die, to be honest with you.
Are you serious?
I was like, why can't COVID just take me? But then you have kids, then your prayer changes again, and you're like, okay, Lord, why can't I just get something,
Yeah.
And it got so tough, and I'm going to be quite brutally honest, it got really tough to a point where I ended up walking around the area, asking these Pakistanis, what can I do? Can I pack your food? Can I clean, maybe mop around the shop, just to make something, because the dreams were just dying, telling yourself, let me just try and live a day at a time.
My goodness.
Some of them would look at me and say, no, I can't afford you. I would be like, no, take me as a regular person. We all are going through the same thing, Some would be like, no, I can't, what do you call this? How much do you need? And I'd be like, and then they'd be like, I know, we'll call you. And they would never call me.
Even
then
I would
come in as a customer. They'd be like, you see, you are better off. I'm friends with all the Pakistani shops that are in the area. And of course, ShopRite guys know me. Even there, I've tried to apply. And the guy was like, no, I'll make you my trainee manager. And then he looks at you and then he's like, no, I'll call you. And then you wait until today, until, you find your way back.
But you have been faithful with God, even through all the hardships you've been.
I had to. I think there was a time I got quite comfortable and forgot about God. And then at some point, I then... because, when you start with God, and then along the way, you get carried away.
Yeah.
Life is good. You're relaxed, no praying, nothing. Any day is a normal day until you realize that, hey, I need to, focus. Yeah. Then when but sometimes God will strip you off of everything, including you, to humble you, to remind you that, remember, we started this journey together. So I think with me, it was all about pruning, building of character. More than anything, loyalty had to just be part of my daily life.
It reminds me of the story of Job.
Yes,
how he was stripped of everything.
If he went through what I went through, he went through it.
Yes.
And more. Imagine Job went through that and more.
Yo.
And more. So it was tough, guys. I lost weight. At least now I can see I'm slowly getting it back. But I lost weight. There was a time I would wear these. The dresses were just falling off.
Oh my God.
Pants were just falling off.
Yo.
And then you think, okay, the whole of last year, I would just alternate my track pants and sweaters, and my comfortable sneakers. And I was known with that uniform in the area. And I didn't mind because you wake up, you have nothing to look forward to. But then I was so fervent in prayer because I knew I needed to pray. I would go through fasting. Some people were like, yeah, you've lost weight. No, I'm on diet. Oh, you look nice and all that, trimmed nicely. But then they don't know what you're going through, And the kids are here. At some point, they didn't go to school.
Yeah.
They started, I think, around last year, April. That's when they went to school. So it was tough. And at some point, shortly after I had just lost things, around August 2019, I think my last event, I moved in with a friend, then went home for December, came back, moved in with another friend, lived around Dainfin, of course. I mean, I was inspired, I wanted more, and I felt the environment is good for me. I tried to push, but then there's these lockdowns levels as well. There's level 1, level 2, level 3. Then when we were on level 3, I moved this side to Newlands. I lived there. Then you're thinking, hey man, why is my life just going down? It's as if I'm in a pit, but then I keep going down. And because we have a culture of leveling our lifestyle with the areas that we live in.
Yes.
So there was a time I just could not take it. I was like, no, I need to go back to the north. I lived there before I lived at Mapungubwe. And I was still blind. And I've learned so much. And it's a beautiful journey that I feel like now I would never trade it for anything. At some point, God told me, by the time I'm done with you, you're not going to be the woman that you were. You will understand people from all walks of life. You will appreciate life for what it is. Now life is so beautiful. You just wake up every morning and you appreciate the sunshine. You appreciate the roof over your head. You appreciate the fact that all your family goes to bed having eaten something. You're looking forward to nicer and bigger things. And I think a life of a ditch, and I'll call it a life of a ditch, like going down in a ditch. And to someone who's also going through that right now, appreciate every moment, but make sure you are very close to God. Make sure you understand your purpose. There were days I would feel like the enemy, plays mind games with you. Don't you want to go back to workforce? And I'm like, actually, I do. And I would go and forward my CVs. You get acknowledgements. We've received your CV for a mere receptionist post. You don't get it. Then you would meet people who would tell you, no, you can't be looking for a job now as people are being retrenched. I mean, really, you just need to find a way of living. Then some days I would wake up and say, would it kill me to have a piece job, just do 3, 4, 5 houses, do laundry there, maybe for 5 days? I mean, those monies won't kill me. I mean, life will humble you to that level. I read a book of an American writer who said he found himself in Las Vegas staying under a bridge. And that's when I understood. And today he's a billionaire. He has a big foundation helping people to transform their minds, shift your mind, try to program your mind in such a way that your vibrations are so strong that your dreams pull back to you and more, So I think I've had to walk that journey. It's just that I didn't end up under a bridge. And, it gets quiet. Misery loves company. But unfortunately, there's no company for misery,
That's true. I want to go back to maybe your childhood. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in the Eastern Cape, Mthatha.
Mthatha. Yeah.
Umthatha, as they call it. I was raised a southern node, one of the oldest suburbs Umthatha has. It's not far from Unitra, University of Transkei.
Hmm.
Those who are from there will know there's Fort Gale, there's Southernwood, there's Southridge, there's Norwood,
Yeah.
there's North Crest, Hillcrest. Those are the suburbs that a lot of people who grew up in Mthatha in the city grew up in. And the house was as old as me because my grandfather raised me. So my grandparents took me from my parents. I was their first grandchild, so excited and proud. And he got a subsidy because he was working for a transport company. He got a subsidy and got the house. So with the changes that happened in the house, I was there, and from a strong Christian foundation, Assemblies of God, used to go to Sunday school. Yes.
So Christianity started at a very young age for you.
Very young age. I remember I would do things at home, just being in trouble as a child, and I would run to the garden in between millies, those long thing of men. I'll be like, Jesus, you need to help me. I don't want to get a beating today. Please help me, send your angels to fight my grandfather, because we were taught in Sunday school that, as a child, you need to always pray. Jesus is always with you. Jesus is your friend, We're told those things. So I would tell him, if you are my good friend, make sure I don't get a beating today.
And you would get a beating.
I would get a beating, a serious one. And my grandfather would even say, pray and repent now. And ask God to forgive you. So I would pray and repent and also ask God to forgive me and also forgive my grandfather for beating me. So I grew up there. I used to love talent shows. We used to have beauty pageants back in the day. So I would go there. Those who know me know from a group, Boys to Men. We won a Town Talk talent show at some point. We won a bed. It was 800. So we had to divide the money amongst us and sell the bed to one of my friends.
Wait. So you were part of you created a Boys to Men group.
Boys to Men group, yes.
And you were...
I was, my friend spoke as he was Mike, the guy who says, girl, I love you. End of the road. And then I was Wanya, we belong together. The guy.
Yeah.
And yes, I was part of that.
And my Boys to Men used to be big.
It was big. That was around 92, 93, Then we won.
And it was all 4 girls.
It was 4 girls. And
Doing Boys to Men. Oh my God.
It was Sean.
And who was the guy with the deep voice?
It was Uspokazi Pecha, a friend of mine. She's now Machobelela. Yeah. We're also friends on Facebook. So we all, of course, grew apart as we grew up. But we still talk. Especially the one who did Mike and Sean.
Yeah.
We talk, Asanda, we're talking last week. They're now women, wives, they have kids. But our upbringing was quite posh, man. You look back and you think, I never thought I would go through the things I'm going through, because the parents invested so much, and especially in our gifts.
Yeah.
Because I was known, I loved Brenda Fassie. I would stand in front of the mirror
and
I would sing as Brenda Fassie. We had a shack that was a shed back home. It kept tools for my grandfather. I would take a ladder, stand on top of that shed and pretend as if the grass and the hedge and the flowers were my audience, and I would be singing Esfuna Malahle, by Brenda Fassie. Malahle. Are you listening? Say yeah! And my grand would be laughing, hanging clothes there. Hey, Shwe, now you like things. Oh my God. So I was that kid.
It allowed you to dream, to have a vision.
The environment was just so amazing. They were quite strict at times. You would ask yourself, are these really my grandparents? Is this my family? Because when you're in trouble, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, it was... I remember at some point I used to like soapies now as you grow up around 17, 18. I used to like Days of Our Lives, The Bold and the Beautiful. So, yes. And then would be playing skipping rope outside in front of the premises.
Yeah.
Once it hits 5 o'clock, we all are running to close the curtains, to switch on the lights, to help CC. We had auntie back then, to peel the veggies if they are cooking, to pretend as if you came back and did something.
Yeah.
And my grandmother was a strong businesswoman who now has a big shopping center, Engombo. The Mlungwana shopping center. I'm sure those who are in the Eastern Cape will know it. She owns it till today. It was a shop and a house, which was now leased into developers. They did some changes. It's now a shopping center. So the whole family is living in that. And yeah, she's still alive, born in 1935.
Ha!
So
She survived
very
COVID.
old. She survived COVID. You know, and the grace of God is there.
Yeah.
You know?
And she's still active. Does she
Well,
walk
one
or
eye
she-
had a stroke.
Okay.
But she still can talk. She
Yeah.
even calls me and asks me, "Kanene ude uphi?" And I'm like, "I'm Mama Jobe," because she's Mama to me. You know? Yeah, okay.
Khawubuye.
Ndithu lapha. Ayinguwe lo bendihlamba ngoku. Ndithi hayi mama ayindime. Hey Miki, you know, back home I'm known as Umiki.
Oh, wow.
So that's how much that's how old she's grown now.
Yeah, yeah. And then was school interesting for you?
Sorry, I need to do this.
No problem. So was school interesting for you? Like, did you enjoy school?
I enjoyed school in high school.
Oh, okay.
All the other years I hated school. I just wanted to pass and move to the next class because
Why?
I saw myself as the biggest Brenda Fassie, whom I felt she didn't need no degree, no diploma, no certificate to actually be Brenda Fassie. And then there was Winnie Kumalo, hey Lighty, hey Sunny,
Yeah.
you know, what do you want? And I was like, but she's young, you know, she's around my age, she's singing. And then I would see kids that are acting. So school for me was just a whole lot of a waste of time because I could see other kids doing what I wanted to do. You know, I would even emulate adverts, you know. I remember there was one, Bull brand, oh, boo, boo, boo,
Yes.
brand. You know, those boys were young who were in the Bull brand advert and they had muscles and everything. But then when I got to high school, I was a historian. I was a history student. I loved history. Then I saw myself becoming a powerful politician.
Really?
Through history. Yes. We did. Your Jan van Riebeeck arrived at the Cape in 1652.
Yeah.
And he built a fort there. That's how our country, for me, in my analysis at the time, was taken away. Because I remember we were reading and then there was a teacher who used to sing, who discovered the what?
Yeah.
And some of us would be like, Vasco da Gama in class. As she walked in when it's history class, she would start singing, who discovered? And then the kids would stand against the wall around the class and we'd be like, Vasco da Gama. And we were singing, you know, teachers used to make toys of us. But that was nice. And then you put 1 and 2 together and you realize, okay, so the arrival of Jan van Riebeeck is what led to the apartheid regime. And then our principal in high school, the Excelsior, it was a colored school, Excelsior Mthatha. He then was my now history teacher in matric. And the way he taught history, Mr. Kobodo, Monde Kobodo, it made me realize that, no, but someone needs to save our country then. You know, I need to be part of those. I need that Mandela legacy. I need to also, but then how do I do it to be this powerful woman that will be part of the leaders who saved our country and, you know, be part of this fully fledged saving and the elevation of our country and the education system. Because I remember I was appointed to be one of the students who went to do a debating for all the schools, in Transkei. So I spoke. My topic was our history now from 1910 to 1994. And yes, I got an A over that. Yes, because I was now telling them, look at the incarceration process and everything. Sorry. I just want to check. I hope there's... No, I'm checking my face.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So I was saying, look at the time for me, the key thing was incarceration, the levels of how many blacks do we have who are incarcerated and how many of the, you know, white people are incarcerated. And I said, look at the incarceration system. 90% of our prisoners are black people. Are you telling me that all the white people are not? You know, that was my key debate there. And I fought, you know, teeth and nail to say, no, we still are not liberated. And this is now 1999. We still are not liberated. Because if you look at the people that are incarcerated, it was not about, now I think a child who would debate now would talk about our employment and all that. But then again, the culture is totally different when you look at other races, because some of them train their kids to be entrepreneurs at an early age because they're running family businesses.
True.
Which we don't see that as Black people. And I want that with my kids. That's the kind of legacy I want to teach them, that, you look at Muslim shops, even around here, when it's school holidays, a 12-year-old is at the shop with the father. He's the one who's at the till. He's taught money at an early age, something that we never even gave ourselves, because I think the key focus at the time, remember, there are seasons in life. We were in the season of apartheid. So the key focus was getting our country back,
Freedom.
and our freedom back. And as a history student that I was, those things fascinated me. So the Brenda Fassie being on stage thing went out the window, because as you grow, your dream changes, different things start speaking to you. And I felt that we need a country that is liberated, and not just liberated, but the mind itself. We need to aim big. We need to see beyond where we are. Hence, around 2004, I moved to this side.
You left the Umtata.
I left Umtata because...
But also, just sorry to cut you there, but also you find that in the Eastern Cape, this is where a lot of great leaders come from.
Yes, so, especially Qunu.
Yeah.
That's where Utat Mandela came from, which is not far from me.
Yeah.
But John Ngabesha as well, who are now attorneys here in John Ngabesha went to the same church. He even didn't recognize me in 2018 when I went to his office and I said, I'm starting a men's forum. He was like, okay, I remember Tatu Mlungwana and Mama Mlungwana. And I'm that little girl that used to go to Sunday school. And he was like, what?
Yeah.
You were like my younger brother. I said, yes.
Wow.
And they were shocked, because from that little girl that I was, I had now grown to be a woman who understood what her purpose was. And I hope I didn't.
No.
But I'm trying to put
everything together, because, I always think that often when you, especially with our conversations, I always go deep in finding out from people what happened in their lives. So your memory goes back. So it's like Ungati, you are opening up and your memory box to say, hey Kunja, let me go search those files.
No, the upbringing was quite good.
Yeah.
The upbringing, although we felt at times they were abusive compared to these kids, but then you realize
they were helping
that the turnout, you were refined like gold, you were refined in such a way that it's easy to adapt to any condition in life, especially when it comes to domestication, which I would urge mothers to really keep your girls in that kitchen. There's nothing wrong with a woman being in the kitchen. Keep your girls in that house. Teach them how to clean those windows. Because with us, when it was school holidays, the first Saturday, you closed on a Thursday or on a Wednesday. The first Saturday, we're taking down those curtains, washing them, cleaning them. We even had a top loader later on where we would put those curtains there. By that time, you're dancing on a blanket in the tub there. You're washing it, to go and hang it. I mean, now you look back and you think, in a corner that I was in, I was even willing to say, I can actually wash people's blankets.
Yeah.
Just save them time. They're going to work. I'll be washing their blankets. It's a skill that you could actually turn to something really positive. Do you understand? I know there are laundromats and everything, but there's areas where you'll actually be okay with doing it manually. Collect a group of women and say, we will do this. We will wash their blankets. We'll wash their curtains. We'll go clean because at some point I had a cleaning company as well, which no one knows.
Yeah.
Yes, I had a client in Centron.
Yeah.
I worked for Kenya Airways. Then I left Kenya Airways. I started Mickey's cleaning company. And then I had Intelset, one of the companies in Centron, an American company that was my client. I did that for a year during 2010 and 2011. Then in 2012, that's when I started working for the Gauteng Health with the head of the department, who actually had come in from America, DC, to come and work with us, Dr. Kund. And she left me there and went back overseas with Boma Mupumzile Mlambo Ncuka and them.
Oh, wow.
She served 1 year term and went back because she felt that we have no sense of urgency. The culture is different. And she had lived in America for a while, So I ended up being headhunted by the chief director of
Here in Gauteng or
here in Gauteng.
Okay.
By at Gauteng Health, but the building that got burnt actually.
But Gauteng Health, there's serious issues there.
I know. Gauteng.
There's no urgency.
She left. I started in 2012 with her, 3rd of January 2012.
Yeah.
It was a Monday. She left that November. She left that November in 2012.
She just couldn't handle it anymore.
She didn't do 2013, 2014. 2013, I joined Budget and Revenue Management, where we do the allocations for the whole Gauteng. And there were miscellaneous things, there funds, there was
corruption,
overspending and underspending. There were issues. Even I was so sad to hear that Babita Deokaran died last year, because she's one of the people I worked closely with. At Budget and Revenue. Yes. Yeah. It's those things, it's those things that are really damaging. Those are good people, and she was quite not just because she was nice to me, but you could see she was so devoted and committed, in what she was doing. She was also part of the unit that I was in. I was a PA to the chief director, and Bob Babita reported to that chief director. I remember even Mr. Mahlangu, what was his name again? Who was a CFO at the time, around 2014, 15. CFO at Gauteng Health. No, Gauteng Health, it can actually do well. I remember one of the guys as well during the time of Dr. Kundu, Mr. Malotana, who was also caught with some monies, and was also had to leave around 2016. He had to leave health due to corruption. So it does have, I think more than anything, it's the mindset, man. If our people could just change the mindset when it comes to being in those positions and focus on, building rather than, I'm not going to say they're destroying, because I think the mentality is to chow for yourself and build so much for yourself, which I think what's killing us as Black people is selfishness, because we have the goods. We have the goods. Young kids want to be inventors of things because of the exposure that the new South Africa gave them. In terms of the education, the schools have iPads now. They're using, laptops. I'm just talking about the positives. So there's still room for change. There's still room for development. I think we just need good leaders. We need good.
Just also, if you think about it, you come from the Eastern Cape, where former great leaders come from. The level of corruption in Eastern Cape is also
beyond
appalling.
words.
It's beyond.
When we were growing up, Eastern Cape was a country of its own. We had our own parliament. We had our own Independence Day, which was the 26th of October, 1976.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who was the guy?
KD Matanzima was our president, quite very strict.
But it was similar to what Muputatswana was like.
Yes.
And obviously these were leaders who, Mangope and Matanzima, were like made presidents.
They were actually corrupt in their own way, because a lot of Black people also in that time were sold to the apartheid regime.
Yes.
Like we had guys who actually, I remember my granny at some point once said, do you remember so and so before he left the country? He lived in my shop for how long? Hiding there. So I asked her, because she is my granny. Let me give you my granny's background. She's a daughter to a princess. My granny is a grandchild of Dalindyebo. Basically, her mother was a princess. Gertrude Dalindyebo is the one who gave birth to. So, King Sabata, who's a father to Buyelekaya, and my granny are cousins, first cousins.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So I'm from
small world.
I'm from that
clan, that family, that royal family.
So royalty is in my blood, ladies and gentlemen.
Come on now.
Leadership is there,
Yeah.
To a point where when they took some of the land that we now use as shopping center. She went straight to Katie. She said, Soze, umzala kanondenza lonto, ndiyahamba ndiya kuKatie. You know, I was like her purse. She would go to this Epotescao, you know, our one
Fighting
of the biggest.
for the land.
Fighting for her land, and she got it back because the lawyers had taken it from her. You know, white people would come and give these guys monies and say, allocate this for this, you know, and it would be as if the municipality is taking it, whereas it's an individual. And I remember the guy who was who had leased the land from her was Robert Beer, and said, no, I will give you this portion of your land back, but I'm taking this portion. And she had these lawyers, Abo, Mr. Matikizela, and my granny dealt with it. She was such a powerful, I tell people that a Winnie Mandela in my life was my granny.
She just didn't stop fighting.
She did not. She fought for justice. Anything that she felt was just, and I would see her win to a point where, listen to this, Putsipo. 2009, working for Kenya Airways, I just traveled back from Kenya. And then I get a call from my aunt. Hey, the house is on auction. I said, Kanjani? She said, no, they're auctioning our house. Our house is a corner house in Southern. It's an old suburb like this. Then I said, no, send me the documents. She said, you need to do something. And I don't know what made her call me as the grandchild, as her niece, as a youngest child in the family. Then I quickly drove to, I was staying in Bromhoff around Rand Park Ridge. I quickly drove to Sisbongiwe. I said, Sisbongiwe, there's this situation. What can I do with it? Now we have my grandfather's death certificate. We have a life cover that he had with MIG Bank, which is now turned to be IAPSA.
Okay.
Then she said, I know a friend of mine in Pretoria who can actually check this. I said, no, check it, because this person died in 2001 and now they can't take the house. Firi, we did that. We called the friend. The friend sent me all the documents, his death certificate and everything, and I said, if I remember well, when someone has taken a life cover, that everything is paid off through that life cover. Yes, so it was paid off. And then she had to now call and check with these guys, and only to find out the same Robert Beer wanted to take the land in Engcobo is now part of all this. So the lawyers that my granny had been paying, trying to fight for the house not to be sold, taken, we now had to pay her back all that money. So corruption happens in so many ways, but when you've been trained by a strong person who will teach you how to fight, she actually taught me to say, fight, Mickey, you need to fight for things. Now it's time for you to fight and make sure we keep our house. That's how we kept our house. And that's a family house. That's a generational house. We probably about 35 to 40 grandkids that were raised in that same house. All of them, wherever they are, they were raised there. Some are wives to doctors. Most of them are still in the Eastern Cape. Some have started working. The group that was born in the 90s. I am the big sis of the family because I'm the first grandchild, firstborn to my father with 4 boys. I was the only girl. Of course, my 2 brothers are late, but I was raised by my grandmother, and like I'm big sis to a lot and an aunt to a lot of. Now she has great grandkids. I have my 3 kids. My siblings have their own 3 kids, 2 kids. You know, we are just a huge generation that came out of that powerful businesswoman, you know, Doris Mlungwana, you know,
she can see it today. That's
she even used to teach me, you know, it's so weird. I would watch her dressing up, going to church, wearing those brown stockings they used to wear and cold shoes from Woolworths, and
the ones that go up to
she
the
had
knees.
an all-weather, she had an all-weather coat that she used to wear, and I knew if it's time to fight, she rocks that all-weather and the beret. You know, most back in the days they used to wear beret and those overall dresses. I don't know those dresses that they used to wear, vintage dresses. Then she would go, hi. And she would go to those offices, move up and down, would go and sit with the brigadiers at the time, fighting for what she thought was right. And issue with the development of the shop, and she said, no, they can't sell that property. That's my property. It's in a business. What? You know, the municipality was saying it's in a business. What? So they need to. And that's how the whole Mlungwana shopping center ended up being built. Because she said no one is taking nothing. That whole portion is mine. I got that land through Mr. Wiley from Italy. I had come back from training at Misty Mount. Those were from the Eastern Cape, knowing Misty Mount. I had to train because I was tired of poverty. Literally, she said they had nights they would literally go to bed without eating whilst my grandfather was a petrol attendant. So until he comes home the next day with money for, whatever money he's got. He was a petrol attendant and she was a receptionist for a doctor. She got pregnant and started having kids. She had to now leave that job and stay with the kids at home. Some days there would be, food. Some days there wouldn't. She said, I remember the kids would come back from school and I would say, go to the tap and fill your stomachs up with water. You'll be full and go and play with other kids. Then at some point, she says, you get tired of making porridge for breakfast and making porridge for lunch and making to a point where the kids enjoy and love porridge. I also was one of those who enjoyed her porridge with Pro Neutro now this time because I was a new generation, with Pro Neutro. And funny enough, until I was in high school, she would wake up and prepare for her grandkids. She just loved kids to that level. But my point was, at some point she got fed up and tired and went for training. Then she came back. She would do stock taking in shops around the Eastern Cape, Mqanduli, Engcobo, Engqeleni, the villages, until someone saw that this person is actually worth working for. So, working with. Mr. Wiley took her in. And as they were traveling back, she got a title deed. It said, I cannot leave, Buddy, I cannot leave this store with anyone. I'll leave it with you. Like, basically, it was given to her just like that.
Wow.
For being faithful, for being a faithful,
being a fighter.
For being a faithful employee and a servant, an integral somebody. You never know what could come. Because that whole place literally belonged to that guy. And then, most we had shops, we called them Ama-Greek, Nama-Portuguese. They would be having a bakery here, they would have a shop. And when we were growing up, these shops that you guys are having in Soweto now were owned by black people at some point. There were black families who were owning those shops, but now they are Pakistanis shops and all that. So what I'm getting at is if us as the next generation had to take over or had taken on and taken over, hence I was talking about business acumen that is instilled by these other races at an early age, you see white people, especially the Africans, you see Indians and the Muslims, the Jewish community, they move their things from daughter to son, or rather son-in-law, but wealth must stay in the family. That's exactly what I feel should have happened in our case, but already she was dreaming big. She had bigger dreams because now it's a shopping center.
Yeah, sorry to cut you there, because I'm just thinking, I had this conversation with I was patrolling last night, so I'm part of the CPF. And so while we are patrolling, there's a few it's colored guys, I was the only black guy there. And as we speak, we're talking about the AfriForum. Okay. So they're saying, Yazi, AfriForum has approached our CPF. AfriForum wants us to join East AfriForum and pay a monthly contribution of 150 or so. So now we start going deep. So now the guys are saying, look, we don't think we want to join the AfriForum because of the history of the Afrikaners and so on. And then something else comes up. They say, you know what? These are a community of just members of 300,000 people paying 50 Rand a month. They're able to raise over 3 million a month. And they were saying that why is it that black people are not able to get together and our money circulates within our community before it leaves our community?
That's what Jews and Muslims are doing.
And we have the majority in terms of numbers as black people and colored people. But you find that we are the most who are poorer, who are suffering, who are struggling. And yet, because of our collective numbers, all the money that comes we literally take it out of our community and bring it back to white people. So the guy was saying, you know, imagine if Soweto with 3 million people living there. People who go to work outside of Soweto come back, they spend money in the malls. White people's money goes back to white people again.
That's true.
So then you've got Pakistanis, you got Somalians. They still take our money. That money does not circulate among black South Africans.
And to add on what you are saying, Pakistanis, what they do is they start a shop here, right? And once that shop is booming, we are supporting it as black communities and colored communities. Then they call their brother and say, we're going to get a space for you. We're going to fill up your shop. Come and run that shop. When that one is done, he calls another one. That's how they also circulate money amongst themselves. Which I feel that as black people, I think it goes back to that mindset thing I was talking about. We don't trust each other. We don't have faith on each other. And we let each other down most of the time.
Sure.
You will give me and say, Sis Babalwa, here's a stall for you. You told me you are not working. You would do anything to just get something. Let's put a Wendy house here for you. Make it a Mkukwanyana shop. Sis Babalwa, I want you to run this faithfully. Sis Babalwa runs this small shop. And then after Sis Babalwa runs this small shop, Sis Babalwa starts taking money now from you. The first 6 months, I'll probably be faithful to you, to give you all the monies, and I get all my salary. Say, this is what I've made. Here's yours, Putsipo. Here's mine. Here's, you say, okay, take this, you basically giving me a skill, and I don't see that. Come 6-7 months, we now have a fallout because I feel like you are using me. One. Two, I feel like I'm making money for you instead of making money for me. No, I want out of this. I mean, I've seen that because my now partner has a truck. He's from Zim. He does, I'll call it waste management, to give it a nicer and a sophisticated word.
Okay.
He does rubbles. He collects rubbles, you know. And, they work as a group of guys. They give each other businesses. You need bricks? I have bricks, dude. I can sell them to you for 1 rand. How many do you need? 400, 500? No, I need maybe 3,000 bricks. Okay, that's 3,000 rands. Come collect and all that. They have tried to work with local guys, and I mean local guys, these boys who are taking a gap year and all that. But there's always that money friction that comes at the end of the day, that you guys are using us, you guys are eating our monies, you guys are doing these. He was even asking me, how does one work genuinely without having a friction about, because Tina, the issue with us black people is that we always look down on each other, irrespective of where one is from. It's just that poison, that venom that's in our brains. We can't work together. And I think the best way to work together is to actually start forums, like you are saying, Botsipo, that will actually kind of help us to have a sense of accountability. Firstly, use banks. Train each other to have a documentation system where everyone signs for their submission. If you put that money together and say, with this money that we put every month, we have allocated SIPO and so to go and make sure that every month we have a meeting to say, this is what we have in our statement. What are we doing in this area as that community? Are we going to build a school? Because I understand through crowdfunding, there's a school that has been built by white people, and they were contributing, I think, 10 rands each almost every month. And now they've built a technical college for themselves with all the facilities. Having done
it's
what?
The AfriForum,
the
one in Midrand.
Crowdfunding.
Yeah.
Crowdfunding is very good as long as there's trust.
Yeah.
And I understand the fears of these guys, but I don't think we should dwell much on the history. And I feel like if it has been done somewhere and succeeded, if we don't want to be part of that, let's try and do it on our own in a way and manner that will accommodate all of us and accommodate our communities. Because at some point, with the level of nyawupe and the level of unemployment that we have, we might find our next generation with no room.
True. Very true. So, I mean, we've spoken a lot about your history, a lot of things that have gone wrong in the country, and now you're on a mission to actually do something. You're excited about next week. You've got an interview that's coming up. You also are here today on the Free Ride podcast, and there's something remarkable that you do, and it's your organization, Uqobo Men's Forum. I find it remarkable because, in fact, I was telling my wife this morning, saying, here is a woman who wants to help men. And because many of us as men, we are damaged and we are responsible for many of the social ills that we see today. We have left our families, many of us. We have left our kids. We have kids in every township.
Province.
And we have... and it's true. Because,
some fathers have kids they don't even know they have.
And when I posted this the other day, some guys will say, no, but not all of us are like that. No, man. It's not... I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about men in general.
Even that. I was going to say it starts there.
Yeah.
That not all of us... That defense is the biggest problem.
The guy, I'm a good guy.
And that self-righteous mentality that you have, because you can say so much until you go through.
Yeah. So you started. Let's talk about how you came up with this organization of yours. Okay. And why.
It was 2017 when I registered a company called Marketing Consulting.
Okay.
I was still working for Gauteng Health at the time. Still not sure what to do with it, but coordinating, meetings in the office, and people will be like, yo, when it's you, we know it's going to be a success. Some were saying Babalwa should be a spokesperson for the department. You would do well. Some were saying they were divided amongst themselves. And I remember most directors were like, well, now you should have been a spokesperson. And I'd be like, nice spokesperson. I might spill the beans. I talk too much. Would laugh about that. I might not end up defending. I might end up, sleeping. And then would laugh it off. And then they would be like, but you are good with events. Very, very good with events. But then not knowing that I'm cooking something in my head. I'm thinking of leaving my work because there's this thing knocking, but I can't identify what it is that's knocking. Fast forward 2018, I decided January, I'm leaving work this year. I remember I resigned in June and then I had to serve the whole month of July. 2018. Now I'm scared now because I've already done the deed, and my boss had sat me down and said, don't do this. Please don't do this, Babs. If you're starting anything, start it whilst you're here. But then I felt like, no, but I have it in me to do this. Let me throw myself in the deep end and see what happens.
Yeah.
Then I later realized, no, man, most guys that I've spoken with in the office are crying about their relationships. One guy said, I'm an intern here, but do you know, for a while I've been waking up, leaving my house. I was a security before. I've been waking up, leaving my house, pretending as if I'm going to work for like 3 months, 90 days. And I would come home and tell them, hey, these guys, I think the company has problems. They're not paying us, but they're not telling us the truth. And the wife would complain. I was scared to tell her I'd been retrenched.
Sure.
Then the other guy was like, no, sometimes, he would come on Mondays with some scratches here, and I'd be like,
what happened?
Then I would tell him, do this, or try and wear polo neck. Even if it's hot, stick it out.
Yeah.
I can see what's happening. But they're not saying what's happening. And then you would hear them, others talk, hey, did you hear so-and-so? Hey, I'm shy at this time. What are this thing? That's what you get. The wife will get tired and flip on you, Why now I'm shy? Wara, Then you hear these general conversations amongst your peers at work, and most of my content came from what I had been exposed to around the people around me. Even in Mapungube, you would see guys who would, because I was staying there, then I'll be sitting with my friend at restaurant, would end up sitting at the bar towards the closing time, and you would hear guys, why mara nina bafazi, buka, nihlezi la, marushi indoda yodwa endlini, you know, and I'd be like, no, Tina, we are single people. He has his apartment, I have my own. Seriously, how did you do it? So you don't want to be married? No, we were married. And I would tell them, now I was married, I got tired of this. Then the conversation starts, because now these are politicians. Some of them are here for conferences, maybe from KZN or whatever. You know, Mapungube used to accommodate, it was it Sanko? Is it Sanko? The one with red T-shirts, but it's a union. It's a union.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was what? I forgot it.
Yeah.
But we ended up having a conversation with these men, and I picked up that most men fear their women. It starts there.
Okay.
There's a fear that comes when a man is committed, when a man is married, in a committed relationship or married. And that fear at some point leads to a man rebelling, either by having an extramarital affair or by staying out with friends till late, not necessarily to say he's doing anything. And that fear also is pushed by a lack of trust from the wife, and to those quiet sessions that women give. I mean, I'm one of them as well. I'm guilty as charged. You know, sometimes you're like, I'm not going to talk to him.
Yeah.
You know, he comes home, good morning, hello, you know, you just go,
Yeah.
You know, I'm also guilty of that. You know, I actually, Kenda's Kuza one time, that I let me not do the very thing that I'm against, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and when you starting small talk, did you eat? You know, just like, did you eat? Yeah, no, you're trying to break the ice that you actually started, you know? So, with time, men develop fear, you know, and the pressures that come with being a man. Firstly, once you reach a certain age, some guys actually told me, I don't think I'm going to date anytime soon. And mind you, this is before COVID.
Sure.
Because I'm not working.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not working, or I'm not earning enough, or I'm not where I should be in terms of my economical state. You know, yes, I have a car. Yes, I have this, a house. But I think to have a wife and children is a big responsibility. There's a fear and a phobia that came with committing to a woman simply because of either their upbringing and what they've experienced, and also GBV. Some grew up in an environment where the father was beating the mother. There's alcohol abuse in the process, because drugs were not a big thing in Black communities when we were growing up. So that came and ended up being a big issue of men having, because every action that men take, I can assure you, I'm 100% sure it's not psychologically or scientifically proven what I'm about to tell you, but there's a fear behind it. That's what I picked up. There's this fear. Men fear not being disrespected by their wives. That anger is a sign of fear, because it's a protection. You're protecting your ego. You're protecting your manhood. You're being a man, and sometimes you will not tolerate a woman disrespecting you in front of your kids. It all comes from that psychological fear that men have. Fear of loss, to lose your marriage, to lose your wealth or your businesses that you've acquired, to lose your dignity in your community. It's all fear. So I heard this and I was like, but now I've been through domestic violence. I've been beaten up in an estate. I've always, you know, being throttled and pulled down your carpet. You know, that carpet that scratches the
in
knees.
your marriage.
In my marriage now, before. So I'm like, you going to work with serious makeup, because before they used to wear goggles. Now we have a very powerful and a strong, makeup industry where you can just put your makeup and put your concealer. No one will see, no blue eye, nothing. So we don't have to wear goggles. Whereas our mothers before used to wear goggles, but after all that, then something said to me, then why don't you come from a solution point angle? Because if you want then to start a forum and do events for men, there has to be something captivating about it. There has to be something extremely charismatic about it, something that's going to keep people coming back. And you have to come from an angle of a positive, because I didn't want to lose the enthusiasm and the excitement that I had. I didn't want a space where people will come and be depressed. And I thought men these days love businesses. He's working, but he owns a garage. He's working, but he has something going somewhere. He has a shoe shop somewhere. And I remember, funny enough, we're talking about this. My partner Rich came back saying to me one day, hey, they are killing people in Maponya. I said, what do you mean? To those shops, shoes for 5,000. And they expect these boys not to rob them, not to be corrupt. How can you have a boutique selling shoes? And I said, it's a mall. It's a mall. That's what malls do. There's nothing we can do. And the level of, he says, and there's nice, beautiful leather shoes. He says, it's a beautiful mall, but I can see where the peer pressure comes in from these young boys. And I said, no, but we need to change our strategy in terms of how we raise them, in terms of how we educate them. And education, not necessarily to say educate our men in schools, but educate them with the mind of the school of the mind. Then I decided I'm leaving the workforce. No one is doing this. There's a gap here, and no woman is doing this. At the time, I didn't even know there were forums for men. And I said, let me be the first woman to take a leap of faith and start. Now look at me challenging myself. Start when 1st September, I'm launching this. And that's exactly what I did. Meaning when you put and you set your mind into something, and I'm a firm believer of setting a date. If you want to meet your deadline, give yourself a date. Like literally have a deadline, diarize it, writing your vision down, as the Bible says, diarize it and put posters out there. You need something to put yourself under pressure. Look at me. I have an event next month on the 24th of September. Is everything together? Not 100%. But where's my vision? Out there.
Yeah.
My vision is down. It is out there, I then had to do the same thing that year. And people will tell you, you're not organized. How do you do posters? I know it's a system that I use to make myself accountable to myself, because you can't lead when you can't lead yourself. Do you understand? At some point, you are going to have to be accountable to yourself as an individual, which is what I did. And
you started, and you launched it September.
I launched it 1st September 2018. Mind you, I left work on the 30th of August. On the 30th of July. 1st August, I went and I had a meeting with the CFO of social development, and I said, this is from hearsays, people saying, if you want to do these events, approach social development. And he said, no, we do have a social development men's forum. That came in and ran with me. And before I knew it, I had spoken to a friend of mine who put Tim Duga at Lutuli House, who then introduced me to Valencia, who said, I'll introduce you to 1912.
Yes.
You also came in, and I had just started. The time we met, I had just started. It was my very first event that I was going to do.
Yeah.
Then I went to 1912. I was there. Can you see how things get aligned and fall into place when you pursue your purpose? Because it was not a passion.
Yeah.
A passion is something that you will do next to your purpose. It's like you have your left hand and your right arm, but they work together. Your right hand, but they work together. So your passion, and I'm going to explain it and break it down to you so you understand.
Yeah.
Because people, you may love baking, but you are working as an engineer. because, for some reason, engineer is what you chose. Being an engineer is what you chose as your passion or your purpose, one of the two. But then you come home and you bake. You never know how far your baking will take you. Some of you have lost jobs, but you bake very well. Your cakes might just leave a legacy. You might just bake a cake that will call all the kids in the community to come and learn how to bake in your house. And before you know it, you've given those kids a living, and it ends up being your purpose. So check what is your purpose and what is your passion. Do you understand? You love maybe dealing with cables, doing cables, fixing cables, and that's your job. But then what is your purpose? Because your purpose might just be something that will be a calling for the kids that are sitting there, like those boys that are sitting there. I was even saying my next event will be here in Western, because we do have a community hall.
Yeah.
I said my next event will be here, and I'm known. God has graced me with just a gift of just getting into a place wherever I'm living. I'll be known by the manager at ShopRite. I'll be known by the shop owners here, the guys who are running internet cafe. Hey, we haven't seen you. Where have you been? I'm good. I'm around. I'm busy. Oh, you're busy. The lady that's selling ice cream there, the liquor store, everybody, the security guards, they know me because I'm one person who talk to people. How are you? Are you good? Aibo, I greeted you the other day when you just looked at, that day, sis Babsa, that day.
I was not there, yeah.
And that's how you get to know people, and that's how you get to get information, and that's how you even get to see what struggles people have in that area. I know here in Western what I need, or what gap my men's forum will close.
So let's talk about the next upcoming event. It's happening on the 23rd of September.
24th September.
24th.
Heritage Day.
Oh, on Heritage Day. It's happening at the Maslow Hotel.
Maslow Hotel in Sandton.
Yeah.
It's $450 per head, because unfortunately this time I had no funding.
Yeah.
I had no funding.
Yeah.
So I'm going to beg you and urge you, I'm as good as a beggar sitting here, to please book.
Yeah.
If you're a company, you can book for a few delegates to come and attend. I promise you, we're talking about a leadership call. Leadership starts with you. Hence, I was saying, at some point, I find myself having to be accountable to myself, because I had to sit down and have a meeting with my brain, with my spirit, with my soul, and ask myself, am I going to stop what I've started? What else am I going to start and then stop? And what else am I going to pursue after that and stop again? So if I start a trend of starting and stopping, what am I teaching my 21-year-old son? Because I have a son who's 20, turning 21 next year.
What?
He'll be there. He'll be there. You'll see him.
Just.
What am I teaching him if umama is going to start things and stop them and start things and stop them? And fortunately for me, he's so passionate about education. He goes to Boston College in Maponya He is so passionate about education. He is so passionate about the topic of women who date four. He says, Mama, if women could just stop dating four, then we are all good to go.
Dating four? For something, you're saying?
Yes, because us mothers, because he takes it back to me, you mothers don't teach your girls to be independent. You don't teach your girls to and we lack fathers. And I always tell him, that's why Mama's running a men's forum, because there's no daddy to teach his daughter how to be treated and how to be dated and how to be loved and because look, we want fathers that are going to give us everything our grandfathers gave us, to a point where, when you're dating a man, it's simply because you love him. It's got nothing to do. It's simply because, and people laugh at me when I say, I used to have a crush like a 16-year-old, like literally, not because I like the car you drive. Young Kaza, I look at you and I'm like, oh, he cranks my style. Oh, listen to the way he talks. He's walking. He's a pedestrian. I mean, who cares what he has?
Yeah.
Do you understand? And that's the most exciting and long-lasting love. And sometimes I feel like God did it that way because he knows uzachaza umntu wakho. And when you meet umntu wakho being that pedestrian, maybe when you come together, you'll do something that will change each other's lives. And before you know it, you grow together in that love. You know, I mean, ladies, we still can meet men that oh, my man, I love my man. I love my man who drives his truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he wears his overalls, and I'm like, you look so cool. I like, because I know that when we go out and when we're together and when we're spending time as a family, that's not what he does. But I like my art in love of loving the person genuinely.
Yeah.
And some days he comes home comes home with nothing, and you're like, it's okay, babe. You know, he even tells people, you know, one thing I love about my wife, calls me my wife, is that she can see how I'm feeling when I'm at the door. This woman, because I've told myself, I did it the wrong way the first time. I'm fixing it this time around. I'm going to do it right.
What did you do the first time?
The first time he was a pharmacist, he had to have a job, ladies.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
He was a pharmacist. We lived in Fourways in an estate. And he was handsome, very hot.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
He was the guy that turns the heads in the room. And yeah, I swear to guy. But this time around, he just had to be a man and understand his purpose and know and just be inclined with his dreams and a vision. Because I think the key thing is that he needs to have a vision. You know, he needs it. It's not about a job, because sometimes I always say, and I'm not saying I'm making women to be miss fix it, but at times the person you're not even looking at, that guy you're ignoring who pursues you, who's not at your level, might just be the guy. And you might just come together, you know, like a slice of bread, and put your portion, he puts his, you butter it, and before you know it, you have built something very strong and powerful, like we are doing right now with our company.
Do you think that so is it a culture of women thinking, I want a rich guy, I want a guy who's made it,
It's there.
I want a and then you get that guy, and that guy mistreats you because he finds that you are not at the same level.
He is God's gift to the world, to you. He's the greatest thing that has ever happened. I think we need to think right. Hence I said men have fears, because remember, and I'm not saying, you know, there's one thing about me, when I hear that so and so did this, my mind automatically goes to the mind of the perpetrator. What could push a human being to do this to someone else? How was his background? What was he exposed to that would push him to that level? How would he act like an animal? To a point where I even ask myself, why didn't I then become a psychologist, so I get into someone's mind and sit with them? And my mind and my heart always goes out to the perpetrator to say, how can you destroy your life like this over someone else? How can you kill a woman? How can you kill a man? Couldn't you just pack your things whilst they were not there and leave? You know?
What do you think needs to be done?
We need to start with our boys. We need to change our thinking.
At what age?
We need to start with them at the age of 7.
Okay.
A boy at the age of 7 has ego.
Okay.
He doesn't want to be kissed by mama like he was kissed at preschool when he was dropped off at school. So that's when they develop their identity. At the age of 6, 7, I have a 6-year-old boy. He tells me straight, Mama, I don't kiss girls. Why? And then he goes, you. Already he understands what comes with kissing girls.
Yeah.
You know, Umusa. And then I'll be like, okay, come, huggies. And then he goes, ka.
Yeah.
You know, he has that masculinity thing already going on with him.
Yeah.
Then he'll tell me, no, I don't want to wear these jeans. This is a 6-year-old turning 7 next year. Talk about someone who's 6.
Yeah.
I want to wear these jeans, and I want to wear them with that red golf shirt. They peak. They already know what they... So if we start working, and I tell him all the time, and the dad would be like, no, but stop making him a sissy. And I'd be like, no, but you don't hit girls. You don't even kick girls. You know, girls are flowers, and, you know, you treat them a certain way. Okay, mama. And then he'll be like, no, I'm not going there. Why? Because there's only girls. Already there's that thing of sexism that comes with them growing up and understanding that, okay, girls, they wear pink. I cannot wear a pink top. Why? Because girls wear pink. No, but it's just a nice color, you know. And with my old thinking, of course, vintage way of thinking, I feel like let's work on them whilst they're young. So to have a men's forum for me is not enough. I still am looking at working with other organizations. So we even go to schools if we have to feed our boys' egos. Because what I picked up and what is happening is that because of GBV, we have fought so much for our rights as women to a point where we've kind of missed the mark somewhere somehow and invested so much to girls. And it used to happen back in the days. You would find
Bring
men
a
who
girl
still,
child to
yes,
work.
you'd find a guy who still cannot cook. He'll tell you, I cook as far as making eggs and bread for myself. Because mothers don't train their boys to know everything. We don't look at them as humans. And I think because we're trying to feed that kingship thing that comes with a boy child, because remember, they are born as leaders. So the pressure stems there. If you okay for lunch at school, thinking because amanye amajita ayakhera, they end up stealing in primary school, stealing money at home for ukuthi akhere. They end up being wooed by these drug guys to go and sell drugs, because he wants to also go adale naye ashayita filibe mnyama, you know, nge-weekend naye athenge black, or naye agaya majita something, where even when they're in their sports teams, when he goes for that sport team, he doesn't want to have your sandwich. He doesn't want. At least he wants to also have that 50 rand, that 20 rand. I know it's putting parents under pressure, but we need to work on the mind for them to understand that you, with your situation at home, you are enough. Because we've heard most soccer stars saying, I made it. There were times I didn't even have transport to go to vets for practicing, but I would actually, go and all that. Let us try as communities to go back to Ubuntu, to go back to it takes a village to raise a child. My child must not be scared to come to Putsipo and say, my mother doesn't have this, can you help me? I need to go there. The uncles of today must love their kids enough not to rape them, not to sodomize them, not to and I'm talking harsh things, not to use them. To be their pawns and say, I will drop you at the sport field. I will buy you and your girlfriend this. I'll give you money for you and your girlfriend. Go drop this for me. Let's not do that. I think let us be a society that wants to build the nation back to what it is. Yes, we are crying about unemployment. Yes, we are crying about the president that's taking the country down. That's not enough. What are we doing? What are we doing? We can cry the whole day, but what are you doing? And my key objective is to say, let's go back to the basics. Let's go back to raising our children as the village, as opposed to saying mbambe mbambe because he picked someone's phone or a purse.
So what can men expect on the 24th of September? You've got a guest speaker. What are they going to take away from the day?
I think the key focus is that you can still live and a life of purpose today. You can still start that business in this poor economy. You can. You can, because when we talk about leadership call, we're talking about knowing thy worth, knowing thyself, understanding that after the ladder, your ladder has been moved, you've been retrenched from work. You see, I'm quoting his books. You can still actually start something in your community. Hence, I spoke about baking. I spoke about being a mechanic. We have gifts that will still make room and help our economy. You might just be the dream and the vision this country needs for us to go back to where we were. So as a man that is running a business, as a man that is frustrated, who's not doing anything, as a man that is trying to find his purpose and his call in life, as a father who's probably unemployed and have been unemployed for the next 5 years, you know what? Find someone, and someone may, and I'm going to urge people, if you know someone who would really need to be part of this event, Social development, I'm asking you as well. You said you're coming for the event, you need to find how many people you're going to be paying for. If you have someone you can actually book for this event, or you can book for 2 people, but you have one person that you can't book for, give me a call. Give me a call. If you have someone that needs this forum, because, men are killing themselves. Patrick Shy, Ricky Rick, I'm talking about the famous guys, committed suicide this year because there is so much, double HP, there is so much that comes with the title man. Daddy, hubby, father, uncle.
And we don't have an outlet to complain, to talk about our feelings, to share what we're going through and actually not be judged.
Our speaker is my mentor now, Mr. Moyo, Max Moyo, Pramex, as they call him. He's an international speaker. He has written 4 books. You can Google him, Pramex Moyo. A very profound guy. Actually, I think it would be awesome for him to take a free ride.
Yes, please.
Mr. Don't worry. I'll talk to him. You might just be with him very, very soon.
Yeah.
He taught me something that I thought I wasn't lacking. Self-worth.
Wow.
Going back to the drawing board and understanding your purpose and not adding too much value in terms of money on your... He said, when you think of solving a problem, you got it right. It doesn't have to be about money. The minute you start stepping out and taking action towards what could help your community, what could even save you, because he says he turned his pain into his own gain by focusing on his gift. But you will hear the rest from him.
Absolutely.
That day he's going to be sharing, what he had to go through as a man and the losses that had to turn into gain. Because there's things that we go through in life that will never turn. I mean, the beatings I got, I will never be the same again. Because I understand what it is to feel humiliated, to feel very angry at yourself for having let yourself down because you looked at the wrong thing. You did not see the red flags whilst they were there, and you got into this relationship as a woman. Now you are being humiliated as hell. Those incidents, your life will never... I mean, it's like you've raped yourself because you got yourself into this relationship. Those wounds have healed, but the scars, are there. They are proof. And you see the scars when you get into the next relationship that actually I'm scarred.
You're taking them with you.
There's triggers. Yes. You have a lot to work on. Because once he says, yeah, you're now going. You start looking. He's not going to do anything. Once he points a finger at you, you start pulling up your defenses. Do you understand? And this person has nothing to do with your history. How do we then move on? We need to find a way to move on. You are angry at every man that passes you. Men, you are angry at every woman. The gatherings, the networking sessions are not just about business and not just about your lifestyle. They're also about healing the inner man and pulling him up, because you're walking, but the inner man is sitting down at a corner somewhere in your body saying, ngeke, never. Some men are saying, I'd rather change these women. I don't care. I had one bad experience and that was enough for me. No, sir. No, maybe whatever happened was not the right time. When they say there's a right time and the right season, or you were not in the right space of mind at the time. But what do you do then to heal the mind? Because we need to heal the mind. We need to restore the soul. We need to empower the spirit and strengthen it to say, you know what? Yes, that didn't go right. It was not okay, but you can, It doesn't mean hate all women, hate all businesses, or now stop doing, because we're not just focusing on GBV, and we don't want men to feel like they are the biggest pandemic we've ever had in this country. We want to restore your dignity. We want to help, feed the mind, empower the soul, encourage the spirit, strengthen it. And we want you to be your brother's keeper, because whatever happens to you is not just for you. It's for your whole community, your whole. So, Uputsipo, look, you started 1912, but when 1912 was happening, no one knew that you were going to meet Osis Babalwa. But look at where we are today. There's a free ride. Look at where we are today. And when the free ride started, I wasn't even thinking of that. I was somewhere struggling, thinking of going to look for a job and do some laundry for someone. I was going through, but there's always a reason for every step that we take in life. You may look at it as a step that's just going to maybe put food on the table. I'm not going to take that away. It needs to happen at some point for our livelihoods. But who are you helping out there? Because I think when the key intention is to help change, hence my next event after that one will be here in Westine, because the key focus is to help, because a boy who's raised by a single mother can't go to his mother and tell her that, hey, I struggle, I have my own struggles, I'm struggling here, hey, help me, I have I'm addicted to porn. Can men say to their mothers they're addicted to porn, or to their wives?
Hell no.
There's a man who's addicted to porn. Yeah. He's looking at porn whilst his wife is sleeping next to him.
Yeah.
How do we help such men? We want to create an environment that's safe for men to say, I can mentor this young boy because I can see where he's coming from. He's been accused of rape. I'm a mother. It breaks my heart to see a 17-year-old being accused of rape. Is prison going to make his life any better? Has it changed so many lives? Have they been rehabilitated? Because prison is our next door next year. That's our next step. Are they being rehabilitated? Is the environment conducive enough for that young boy? Is even taking a boy child to prison the solution? Can't we have military schools rather than having boys' town? Because there we're sharpening them to be the next criminal for the next season.
It's true.
Can't we have military schools? Our justice system is failing our young boys and our young girls. Instead of taking them there to rehabilitate them, there they have choices to join gangs. Guys, the work is so much. I am against the prison system for kids or reformatory schools. That was designed at a certain level of our, history as a nation. Maybe slavery, prisons, we all know, came from slavery. And slavery was designed for a certain group of people. Same applies to those reformatory schools. The structure, we may change the government, but we're not changing the structure there. Those places were designed for. I had a brother who went to prison at the age of 14. He never came home. Because when he went back at the age of 16, he never came back. He was serving 20 years when he died in prison.
Yo.
Do you understand? My own brother, he was number 3 from me. I'm the firstborn. Then I said there has to be a way to pull these kids away from the streets. Why don't we have our army? I'm giving you ideas now. Why don't we have our army? A section of this South African Defence Force to say it's for those kids who are unruly, where they will get there and be trained. Discipline.
Yeah. That's true.
Why don't we have military schools where they will say, I used to do Nyahupe, but from rehab, I was taken to the army. And then when I was at the army, I attended school. We were trained there physically, because some of these kids, you will find that they don't know that they are the next Mike Tyson or, who's that, Mayweather. They don't know. They're taught sport on Saturdays. They're taken to camps to empower the mind. They become the next motivational speakers who will say, "Now I was taken by the system to the military school. I got to learn there. There's enough money. I know there is enough money. If there's enough money to incarcerate them, let's have enough money to take them to military school. I don't mind being, if you need a strategy team, I'll be part of that strategy team because I see what I'm talking about."
Yeah.
To have a 27-year-old boy saying, "I was supposed to be serving 40 years in prison, but I was taken to military school at the age of 15. Today I have a degree from UNISA through military school. Today I'm helping other boys who are at the streets." I mean, the vision is quite huge. And anyone who wants to partner with me, even you, Butsipo, Free Ride, please, let's partner and change the country. One man, one boy at a time, one girl, one lady at a time, one woman at a time. Because also with women, next week on the 9th, I'll be joining women at Metro FM. At Metro, yes, they have a big Women's Day there. I'll be celebrating with women. I have a word or two as well to share there. I'm working with Usis Luki now. On the 30th of August, we're looking at having an event for women, because there's a tendency for us women, when we gather together, we cry about our issues and we hug each other and we don't give each other solutions. But now we need to look at our barriers. Like me, I'm scared of heights. I can't swim. I'm scared. I'm like pure, as they say, black. Call it black. I'm pure black. I can't swim. I'm scared of heights. Never done hiking in my life, even when it was done by people, after the country was open. I couldn't go hiking because I'm just scared of even looking at mountains and forests. But we want to bring in those programs and turn our phobias into, because you'll find that the reason you can't reach your full potential in life is because of these barriers. Go do that bungee jumping and come back with a big appetite for life. Do you understand? Go swim. Take those swimming classes. You might come back, without fear, because the key thing that is holding us back is fear, Bazalwane, fear, and all these things, God made them for us to enjoy them, to swim. I was challenged when I saw the black mermaid, Zandile. They call her the black mermaid. Is it Zandile? I think Zandi, the black mermaid. You must Google her. That woman goes down and right down into the sea. She sees things we've never seen. You must check her. Maybe she's from Soweto. Maybe you'll interview her. She goes down into the sea with cameras. She picks up things right at the bottom of the sea. The black mermaid. And I was like, the sea is so beautiful. There's stones, there's plants there. She is black. She went right down. Right. She was even on Tibo Touch last week. A girl from Soweto.
Wow.
You must look for Zandi, the black mermaid. She's from Soweto. She says, it just became this huge thing that she wanted to do. It's now her passion. That's what she does. She swims. So what I'm saying is, there is so much work to be done. Those that would like to work with me, let's come together. And there is so much also to give and help our government, because they're doing it the best way they know how. You know what I mean? Mr. Ronald Lamula, we can sit down and talk about our boys being moved from those prisons into military schools and have our soldiers, because we're not fighting, we're at no war. So our soldiers can teach those boys to become better men. They can train them, the Navy, the Army, our ministers, there's so much we can do to help this country become.
It's not all lost.
We can't have so many criminals. Do you understand?
There's still something that can be
There's
done.
something that can, and they will leave those military schools to come out in their communities being better men and start the best facilities for the young people. And that's how we grow the nation, and that's how we grow the country.
Sure. Babalwa, you've said a mouthful, and I really can feel like I'm sitting here as a man thinking, so many of us are sitting back and we are pointing and saying government is failing there, hey, corruption there, hey, this, and then we go to the bottle, then we drink, then we continue with our social ills. And here you are, having gone through the challenges you've gone through, yet you are
Homelessness.
passionate
Homelessness
about
is the
helping
worst
our
key.
people, helping other people. You know, you're not even saying me. You're
Guys,
saying
no. The
us,
nation.
our people, our community. And I think I find it very inspiring. And the fact that you are a female who wants to contribute to changing the mind of a man,
Oh.
it's really inspiring, because a lot of us are messed up in the mind. You know, our fathers messed us up because they were messed up by their fathers and the apartheid system.
Some by the system, yes.
And so, and remember, you know, I always raise this and say, you know, like our system, or the system we found in the country, told a black man to move from where they are, come and work as a miner. They moved us into this Johannesburg. And, you know, so it was a culture of leaving families.
Yes.
And we grew up with single. And then also, we were separated, saying, Amaxhosa that side, Batswana kwa,
Tribalism,
Mazulu kwa.
Kosiam. Hey, that is killing us.
And then when we eventually, I remember even Soweto as big as it is, there was a place where Kikoma Changaneng, Kikoma Vendeng,
I know
Kikoma
Ebatswaneng.
Zulu,
Yes, I
Kiko Kaikai.
remember Ebatswaneng. I remember hearing Ebatswaneng. I was like, what? Ebatswaneng, hlala Ebatswaneng.
And so then it went from not only tribalism, but it went into classism. Then it became a thing of this family has a shop, bane TV and
Ba-rich.
bane moto. And so it became a classism. So there's so many things that divided us as a people, as men in particular. If you didn't have a car in Lini, you were not man enough. If you didn't have a TV, a car, you were not good enough. You were seen. So we then started using material things to measure each other.
Clothes.
And clothes. I mean, I remember, you know, like days when if you could see out all star
Yo.
entsha emhlophe uhambela there uhamba so it becomes psychologically
Dickies sport ashaya sport is a Dickies look at Dickies all star white t-shirt.
Automatically it makes you good. Manje abo baby bazongibheka manje you know I can attract
Zobathathela.
Yeah manje whether una needs bona na kyapere bukae kyapere 1,000 kyapere 5,000
luna let's be next.
You know, so I think psychologically, and I like the fact that you're saying it's the mind.
It's the mind.
It's the mind that needs to be worked on. And I truly agree. And there's no subject called mind at school.
You know, if I think life will push you to a point where you have no option but to push. Having been through what I've been through, there was a time I was even scared to tell people where I'm staying, because I've lived such a glam life to a point where I felt maybe I will not be good enough. I'm talking about me. At 40, when I turned 40, that's the year lockdown started in our country. That month, 4th of March, I had celebrated 40. I've never had a 40th birthday. I even had told myself my 40th will be in Val, all-white party, in that boat. No. That was the year I had to deal with. I think that the best gift God gave me at 40 was to actually teach me life.
Humility, bring you down.
Humility, understanding people from all walks of life. I'm passionate. I love people. But then I also had classism issues. With you, if I stay here, who's going to come and see me? I guys know I'm the right. You know. But then funny, sometime in Newlands during lockdown, I sat with some guys who were staying where I was staying. They had a shack at the back. We all sat there. They were drinking the ambamba. And then I was like, what is this? And they were like, no, this is Danny Dop. And I was like, what is Danny Dop? I tasted sister. I was tasting it and I was like, yo, I never thought I could
drink such.
Plastiki, you know? And I was sitting with them and we were talking. There's some pictures I'm going to send you, Putsipo, to show you where I was. And just one picture that I took when I was there. And they were like, mara wena ngumlungu wena awusiqashe. Sister, awuna job for us. And I was like, dihlala apha nani ndingumlungu wapi? Do you get what I'm saying? But then you get to see the struggles
they
that
judged you on your appearance.
Yes.
So it was a classism thing.
And I've never seen, and I didn't know that people go to work just to have ishebo,
Yo.
nepapa. And I was there.
Yo.
My mother was in shock when I was showing her at night, saying to her, look at where I'm staying, because there were shacks at the back, and then there's a house, main house, and I'm in the main house. But at the back, there are these people who are renting. One lady, bekathi makabuya namagwinya late, ndithi kusela mangaki, awunike ke anikeza amagwinya nepoloni. These ladies were selling amagwinya nepoloni at the back. And I'm like, I can't sneak.
Has your mother never asked you to come back home?
It was not an option for me.
You never?
I didn't want to.
But you can go back.
I can. I was not chased away from home. They were actually, my mother felt that it would be better that I go home. She was even showing me posts that government was offering back home. But then I thought, if I leave this, there was something in me that said, if I don't finish this course, tough as it was, then I might not get where I need to get.
So you wanted to go through the
I
fire.
shaved my hair at some point completely. Now you will see very soon I've joined the Jamaican team. Jaman, very soon. You know?
Yeah.
But you know what? I shaved my hair at some point because I couldn't maintain it. There was no point to wear wigs. Where? For who? Where am I going?
Yeah.
My first meeting this year was in Melrose with my other team. And it was my first time in 2 years to leave here and go
to a fancy place. Yes.
And I remember I asked, do they still have hot white chocolate? Because it's like you were incarcerated for 2 years.
Yes.
So do you still use what do you call that? Do you still, it's like someone coming out of prison saying, do you still use mix it?
Yo.
What are you guys using now? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So they were like, no, you can order anything. And I had to now say, no, man, steam. I said, no, I'll have coffee.
Yo.
Just like everyone else. And for me, that was like, where have I been? I mean, just looking around, the roads have changed. I have not been that side of town in a while.
And that was your area that you used to frequent?
I knew every place. Now I don't even remember the streets. You hear people, man, don't you remember at such and such a place here? When you go, no, man, you pass Empire and you're like, Empire, where's Empire? Oh, Empire Garden is not far from us. It's here. You know, it's you then realize, Guti, there's a child born in Deep Sloot. There's a child born in Bekkersdal. There's a child born somewhere in Dlamini who's never taken a taxi to even pass here and go to Joburg, CBD.
That's true.
Bahaitu, we have a lot of work.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of work. Actually, not because I know I am so blessed by God with the vision that He's given me. There's one Christmas I'm just going to call all these shops, ShopRite and Pick and Pay, and whoever wants to go with their family before lunch, Christmas morning, before going to church, actually not even going to church, to go and deliver food in the informal settlements and gifts, guys. Let's have a culture of Ubuntu. I'm not talking food packs. I'm talking from groceries, toiletries, what do you call this? Toiletries, as well as cleaning detergents, as well as just giving them that experience. It mustn't be Oprah who comes from America to come and do that here. Yeah. We can do it because that's how wealthy we are. South Africans are very rich. Look at us in 2010 when we came together to celebrate World Cup. Yes, we are such a powerful country, and I still believe we're a powerful country. As South Africans, our culture and our history is so rich, so powerful, so profound. Hence, I'm saying let's take our kids out of prison first. You know, those ones who are, I think I would say maybe from the age of 19 down or 18 down, let's take them out of prison, guys. Let's have a military school. Let's have motivational speakers. Let's have them given skills in an environment that will still give them that freedom with discipline.
Absolutely.
And then let's go door to door. and give our mothers food. If you can work with an old age, I can help you with, I have these big ideas. I can say, you want to work with old age homes, let's do that. Let's be this AfriForum, Tina, that is bringing our communities back and being accountable to each other. Being your sister, your brother's keeper.
Sure. Sis Babalwa, you've said
Thank
a
you so
mouthful,
much,
and I
Betsy.
really
I
appreciate
appreciate this.
I appreciate
Sure.
because I can feel, Uguti, when you speak, it comes from deep within. Like you really mean it. It's not something that is cosmetic. It's not something that is put on, and you're not doing it for your own personal gain, but really about the people.
To be honest with you, if I had the resources, if I had the means, if I knew the right people at the right places, I promise you, we wouldn't be crying about the government, because I would make sure that the government wins, our communities are happy. Strategy is the way to go. Let's work on a way where our communities won't complain.
Absolutely. Like we can spend money on alcohol, like we can spend money on drugs, like we can spend money on clothes, like we can spend
bottles worth $3,000.
Yeah.
Hello.
Like we can spend money on cars, like we can really spend money on making ourselves look good. We can definitely save our country. Somebody said to me yesterday, there's something bubbling, and there's a possible, Thabo Mbeki spoke about it, that there's going to be an Arab Spring that is brewing in our country. And when I heard it from somebody else who was saying to me, if nothing is happening, if we don't do something about the country, we are going to see a bloodbath happening in our country. We have already seen the other day.
The shootings that are happening. Oh my goodness.
There have been random people being shot at brazenly during the day,
people
at
sitting,
night.
drinking are shot. Families are shot. There's going to be house break-ins now. So to save all that from happening, those who have the resources, those who are in the right spaces, those who have the time, let's come together. Uqobo is not my thing. I was actually saying it to a friend of mine, Ukagiso, yesterday, that I've come to realize that I needed to give Uqobo back to God, because I was running it myself. And God needed to own it. Do you understand? Unkulunkulu umdali uqamata, whatever God is to you. But I took over, whereas with my ego and my classism and my everything. But God wanted me to be a mother, not just any mother. Ubabalwa, the mother to the nation, the mother to the sons. I love our sons. I don't want us to give up on our sons. There's always a root to every problem.
Absolutely. With all that said, sis, where can people find you online? Where can people buy the tickets? Where can people call you to contribute? Where can people call you to join you and join your organization? Where can men find you?
Yes.
With the right intentions, of course.
With the right intentions. You can find me on, I'll give you my number. I mostly these days use my Facebook page, Babalwa Mlungwana or Uqobo Marketing Facebook page. I'm mostly there these days on Facebook. But my WhatsApp, you can WhatsApp me on 083 738 1026. 083 738 1026.
All right, we're going to put the details below here so that you can see them and contact her. And Sis Babalwa, thank you so much.
You can also, if you know Butsipo, you can contact him as well.
Yeah.
You can contact him. So,
Just say, please put us together, Naloyasi. She said so much and we would like to get involved. And I urge each and every man who's watching this to say bafowethu.
Yeah, bring as many guys. For instance, if you're saying I'm paying for 5, then I'll say how many are coming. No, there's other 2 that wants to come. We'll talk. We'll talk. Do you understand? Or 3, there's 3 of us, but I can only pay for 2. We will talk, guys. Where there's a will, there's always a way. I'm not about what do you call this? Getting paid. No. If you want me to come and speak to your school, I'll be there. I'm sure you did a good job the other week.
Yeah. But I must tell you, as much as I enjoyed it and I got some good feedback, I also saw what I did not really, I was not comfortable with, because
Why?
I realized that I go there and I talk for an hour, and these children are gonna go back to their reality.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like it's like throwing water, like a stone in the water,
Yes.
and then it splashes, and then the water comes back to its calmness again. So what I realized is that these kids are still living in poverty.
I was still alive.
Yeah, we still live. So I realized that they live in poverty. They are still exposed to drugs in the community. They are still exposed to rape, to violence, to. So how good is my talk if they go back to their reality? But at the same time, I said, maybe I've touched one child.
Yes.
Maybe one child
Yes.
heard and said, you know what, I'm going to stop blomming kokoning. I'm going to stop asking for cigarettes. I'm going to stop buying weed and smoking. I'm going to stop taking drugs. I'm going to start studying and focusing on my schoolwork. It teaches me some kind of discipline. I've spoken a lot about discipline. I said a lot of the things that are happening even around you, a lot of it is really the choices you make, and you become disciplined. Because I said to them, I also grew up in a squatter camp. I grew up in poverty.
Of course.
And I had to leave my environment to go outside because I did not want to sit kokoning all the time. I went kilo jima, kilo mata. I kept my sports, my gift. I used them to take me out of my environment. And I wanted to leave. Like Squatter Campus Princess is like it's like a hostel.
Yeah.
And I used to say, I need to go out because I can't be seeing that guy, poverty, Metsi running down, sewer, people throwing their buckets on the water. Like it was.
Some are sitting there drinking imbamba.
And I would say to abo like Chita badutsi ko khone drinking bamba, drinking alcohol, how do you sit in this mess? Like why can't you clean it up? And they would never listen. And so I would take myself out of that environment. So a lot of it, and I'm not the only one. I know a lot of guys, I know a lot of my friends who took themselves out of poverty as well. They chose the right circle of friends. We motivated each other, and we managed to overcome a lot of our difficulties. So a lot of it comes to choices you make and how disciplined
and the decisions
you make, and how you become disciplined in the choices that you make. If you say, I'm not going to smoke, I'm not going to drink, I'm not going to hang out with about clever, guys who like to do haze brag and whatever, it's a choice you make, and you become disciplined and say, I'm going to choose the right path. So I had mixed feelings about my talk, but a lot needs to be done, and I want to really thank you for also choosing to say, I can go back home, I can go back and find a job, but God has given me a purpose that is bigger than me bigger than myself.
I felt I had this strong hunch that you can't. It felt like going home would be giving up. And it felt like going home would mean I'm never going to come back here, because they'll always refer to, but what did you gain there? Nothing. So you might as well. And getting a job and being comfortable is what I did not want.
Yeah.
Because I could see, if you can see it here, God is never going to give what's here to the next person. It comes here because it's yours. And if you can see it here and keep what is here right in your heart and pump your heart with that and say, because I remember I used to sit and visualize, I can't wait to see the beach again, just go and feel the sea breeze. Have I been to the beach? Not as yet, but I know this December I'll go. You know what I mean? But it was that thing that kept me, I can't wait for me to have these talks again. I do. I had people, 2 people. So when your mind is fed enough and, well fed, I don't mean literal food. I mean literally, when you think right, the right people will come your way.
Absolutely. Sis Babalwa, thank you so much, man. Once again, you've been such a true inspiration. I really value you. I value what you do. I value your gifts and your purpose. And continue, because sometimes people with a vision that is bigger than them is always difficult in the beginning. Can you imagine when Noah was told to build an ark? And that time there was no rain.
And people were saying, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
They didn't understand his language.
Yeah.
It's like you're not talking.
No. And so all of us are given these gifts and purposes in the new world that God has given us to make a contribution and change people's lives. And of course, this show is also for that purpose, to change people's lives, to influence people, to show and bring people like you that you can go through the most difficult adversities in life, but you have the strong zeal to survive and this courage to go through and overcome whatever challenges you've gone.
I promise you.
And I really appreciate people who have sat in this chair, spoken to our viewers, shared their knowledge, because each of you have such a remarkable story to share with others. And our purpose as a show is to build South Africa and to build our country, to give hope to our people. So thank you so much for doing what you've done. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing. And to all our viewers, there we go, man. Another strong, black, beautiful woman who's doing the most amazing stuff.
I appreciate sitting on this seat as well.
Come on, it's Mr. President. This is a presidential ride, so you must feel like you are honorable. You're an honorable member.
Honored to have been part of this. But yeah,
thank you so much.
It was nice. The key thing: don't give up.
Absolutely.
Don't give up. No matter how tight, hard, dark it is, do not give up.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, man. We are out. Thank you very much. Continue to like the show, share the show, tell everybody about it, tell your kids about it, tell your parents about it. Here's a show that's designed specifically for you to be able to help you change your life. Listen, South Africa, we've got a long way to go. There's so many of us that really care and love this country. We are jealous of this country. We are jealous about it. When we see people destroying it, it hurts us. And we're not going to complain and point fingers only. We're going to do our small bits to try and help the next person, the next person. We want to talk about Ubuntu and not just talk about it, but actually live it and show people that it's possible. And let's continue to do our small little bit in our country. And I thank you. May God be with you. We are out. Boom.